Brawl Stars is hella cool, no doubt, but there have always been some glitches and bugs in the Brawl. Most of the time, it's these visual screw-ups, but some bugs messed things up big time, almost killed Brawl Stars. Many remember the 140 megaboxes for $2 deal. That was a majorly unpleasant screw-up, causing a ton of trouble for the developers. But I want to reminisce about the less popular bugs, remembered only by true OGs, or practically nobody. Before we dive in, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and drop a like on this video. By the way, there was this mega popular deal, 49 megaboxes for 49 gems, but honestly, it was garbage. That promo lasted about an hour and was only for noob accounts. Sure, it stirred up some commotion, but that was back in 2019, not as critical as it might seem. Besides the boxes and promo mishaps, there were bugs in matches too. If you're not clueless, you know scoring goals wins Brawl Ball. If you don't know that, why are you even watching this vid? But how do you score when the ball won't even pick up? Yeah, there was such a bug, and it was pretty common. Usually they fixed stuff like that within a few hours. But before the game's release, these bugs could linger for days. So, the devs are sitting there like, let's add a mode where you gotta score goals, but you can't pick up the damn ball, you bunch of jokers. And remember the legendary siege mode? It's a damn shame they axed it and probably won't ever bring it back. What's my point? When the devs just added Sprout to the game, they completely forgot to test it in real matches. I can't explain the ton of bugs tied to Sprout any other way. He could move his shooting base called I-Key with his super ability. And the funniest thing? You could do the same thing in Heist. Basically, you could drag the opponent's safe closer to your base, giving you a wild advantage. And Sprout, I'd say, is the most hated character by Supercell because he had the most glitches. They fixed them in bunches. For example, among those bugs, Daryl could roll through walls, and Baz could fly with his ult through any obstacles. Cool, right? To keep the devs from going nuts and let players have some fun sometimes. Sure, having fun thanks to bugs is an incredible rush, but some bugs made players chuck their devices in the trash. If you had a Xiaomi phone, you often encountered this nonsense. Of course, sometimes these bugs were on Apple devices too, but that was extremely rare. But from my own experience, I can't say. I'm just a regular guy, and at that time I often played with Androids. The bug was that the textures were loading incorrectly. By the way, some even said this error helped them, claiming it made aiming easier. Do we believe these guys? Of course we do. Yeah, right. I bought into that nonsense too, but actually that's just the tip of the iceberg. Now we're playing big. Or should I say, playing dirty. I've encountered that monstrosity in matches too sometimes. I think many remember how either some textures turned black, like the brawler models replaced by black goo, or in other cases, practically everything was just plain black. Pretty hilarious, right? And the devs couldn't fix this darkness for several weeks or even months. Some rarely experienced this, while for others it was an everyday thing. So I can understand those who deleted the game because of these gypsy tricks. If I were a blonde bombshell, I'd be scared too to find myself in the middle of such a black hole. Another bug that really pissed off a lot of people and started being actively exploited by bug abusers was Carl's pickaxe disappearing. When Gene pulled in the 4 eyes who dropped the pickaxe, and at the same time Gene used his gadget in time, Carl's pickaxe would just vanish until he died. You're like, what nonsense are you spouting here? It's hard to replicate in a real battle and not many have heard of such a bug. But lo and behold, many players just couldn't play Carl because at that time Gene was a meta brawler and practically everyone knew about this error because the bug looked downright hilarious from the outside. Helpless, Carl could do nothing but run. Doesn't that remind you of something? That's exactly how your random teammates run helplessly. Yet the developers didn't overlook such a glitch and of course fixed it. But being clumsy as they are, they ignored this bug for several days before finally initiating a technical break and fixing everything. By the way, Gene, a mega buggy character, because at times he could pull opponents and leave them in walls. Sure, replicating such crap was tough, but I remember being left in walls and boxes too. By the way, I'm still stuck in textures. Help, please. When it came to walls, the developers really screwed up big time. At times, breaking skulls, walls would explode nearby. I get it, in Supercell there must be some die-hard Dynamite fans working there, but sometimes it heavily tilted the game's outcome. So, for such screw-ups, the devs deserve more than just a slap on the wrist, but something worse. Another big fan of walls is Mortis, but he doesn't blow them up. He just loves to walk right into them. No dirty undertones, just pure manly love for walls. I remember how other brawlers used to get stuck in walls too, but to walk through them several times, that was a feat only the greatest Mortis could pull off. Back in the day, it helped set records in Robo Rumble and gain extra cups in Showdown. And overall, it was a useful trick. Imagine everyone gets abilities, someone gets super speed, someone can fly, and you just get stuck in walls. What an incredible thrill. I also recently remembered a bug that probably almost no one recalls. About a few months after the beta version of Brawl Stars opened, players in club chat were sending a symbol that straight up crashed the game. Exactly. By sending it, many players simply couldn't access Brawl Stars. I bet the developers were in shock from that. I don't know how much the online dropped at that time, but I can imagine how frustrated those who wanted to play their favorite game must have been. There was also a super interesting bug related to Duo Showdown. In friendly rooms, you could have multiple people on one team. So, a team that should have had 2 people actually had 9. At other times in the game, this bug even occurred in the global version. You could really abuse it with Jesse and play, for example, as a trio. The developers fixed this absurdity pretty quickly, but those who managed to take advantage of it had a blast. A much less interesting bug, but one that annoyed a huge number of players. What a nuisance. Sure, you could roughly guess your health from that bar, but sometimes it was a real pain and definitely made the game more challenging. Any little thing, even such insignificant ones, really got on players' nerves at all times, and of course that's why Brawl Stars has its fair share of haters. I don't even want to remember how many visual bugs there were in the game over time. Even now they still pop up quite often, but at least they don't interfere with gameplay, so we can forgive our beloved developers for that. Of course, I can't forget about the change in star powers and gadgets. You could pull off such tricks even in friendly battles. So you could take a passive ability from one brawler and apply it to another. Everyone was experimenting like crazy. You could grab, for example, 8-Bit's gadget for extra shots and slap it on Spike. And man, the chaos that ensued from that was epic. In short, we had a blast, however we could. The bug didn't last long, but I distinctly remember the developers turning a blind eye to it for at least a few days. And the bugs with Jackie are unforgettable. This goofball is also the mother of a whole bunch of bugs. Just look at how she launched herself thanks to her super ability. I'd give her a smack on the head for that, make her helmet fly off. By the way, have you seen Jackie without her helmet? She looks like the typical overachiever from your class. If you want to see another part of the video about bugs and developer mistakes from me, then drop a like, subscribe, and leave comments. See you soon. Bye-bye, everyone.